family should be awake. And now you know some new people, new allies. How lovely. Okay, if everybody can get back to their seats, we've got a very full program. Very good. Moving. Thank you, thank you. Okay, it is my pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Tek Lim, the Associate Provost for Graduate Studies. He's one of my favorite people on this campus, and he will be yours as well. I can't imagine anybody caring as more about graduate students as Dr. Lim. And so it's my pleasure to give him the floor.
Thank you, Alexis. It's a mutual admiration society we have here. Because in exactly the same way that Alexis says that, that I'm a good guy, I want you guys to know too that she is a good guy. I want to welcome you to TA Orientation 2013. And I'm very pleased to see so many of you in attendance. We didn't bank on as many people showing up as did this morning, and that's why poor Taz and Sandra had to go around scrounging to get extra chairs for all of you. But it's a good sign. It means that you people realize that you have a role to play in Drexel, and that the next 2 days of TA orientation will really be very, very useful to you in getting you to accomplish what it is that we want you to accomplish in the labs and in the classrooms. I also want to thank Alexis and her crowd of expert TAs and faculty who will be running the events of the next 2 days. Now, I had promised Alexis that I would give you people a quick summary of what your role will be as TAs at Drexel. And I've prepared a few slides, but because we're running short of time, I'm just going to quickly skip over these first few, which I did show on orientation day last week. But some of you may not have been in my session and therefore may not have seen them. So anyway, I'm going to flash them up on the screen. It essentially tells you, as you can see in this summary, whoops, oh, sorry, did it the other way around. Where Drexel stands as far as US tertiary education is concerned. You will notice that this is just a little chart of how it is that various tertiary institutions in the US receive their students from high school. They can go from high school to these various tertiary institutions, and of course Drexel belongs in this block here, where we are what we refer to as a research or comprehensive university. I also want you to know that we are a private university, so it's quite different from a public school. We're not quite as big as Ohio State, with its 70,000 students. We do have about, altogether, 21,000 students in total at Drexel. And for you people, please note that there are 3 graduate degrees, that most of the people who are in graduate school actually are master's students, and that PhD students constitute only about 15% of the graduate student population. I also want you to note that it's the graduate program at universities that establishes the so-called stature of that university. So as you people are, in the main, PhD students, you are contributing to that stature of Drexel University in that hierarchy. I also need to let you know that graduate education is not cheap, right? It can cost between $30,000 to $60,000 a year to go to graduate school. And therefore the question then becomes, for graduate students or prospective graduate students, where do you find the financial resources to afford graduate school? And of course, the answer to this question for all of you is that your tuition and your stipend, your living expenses are being covered by what we refer to as a teaching assistantship. All right, but what does a teaching assistantship entail? First of all, I'd like to set the table, so to speak, for why it is that we have you here as a TA. If you take a look at the structure of the school, it's broken down into two sides. There's the academic side, which is led by the provost, and then there's the administration side. And then, of course, we are catering to students right here. And your role is right down here at the bottom in this, oops, yes, this doesn't work anymore. Here, right here, TAs. You are going to be helping the academic faculty, the academic staff, in making sure that teaching and learning takes place. And therefore, you'll be interacting very closely with students. And then, of course, ancillary to all of that, you realize that there are times when you, as well as the students, will have to interact with the administrative side. Hopefully, there will be very few times when administrative issues will surface during your interaction with the students. All right, so we've got about 14 undergraduate students here at Drexel, whom we have to teach. And if you know exactly how many faculty we have to teach, we have available to teach these students, you realize that it can't be done. There aren't enough faculty with PhDs to take care of all of these classes. And that means that we need the help of people like you. And it is in that context that you are offered this teaching assistantship in exchange for a stipend and the university paying your tuition or having tuition remission for you. You assist us in the teaching responsibilities of the university. All right, so what are the expectations that we have of you then, once we sign you up for a TA-ship? Well, in a typical teaching assistantship, these are what it is that you have to do each week. You will either be teaching 2 or 3 2-hour recitations or labs, or 4-hour labs. No, 42-hour labs, or 2 or 3 2-hour recitations. In the main, at the labs and in the recitations. In the labs, of course, you're supposed to be guiding the students through doing their experiments, analyzing the data, and then reporting on their results and then grading them. But in the recitations, you'll be probably required to solve certain problems for the instructor, and you'll have to grade student work. You'll have to be there to proctor exams. You don't have to set the exam questions. That's done by the director of the course. But you have to be there to help make sure that students don't cheat, don't copy at the exams. You have to walk up and down as you proctor the exams. You also have to grade these exams, and then you have to have office hours at which students can come to you for help if they need with whatever it is that's happening in the course. And on occasion, as I have written down at the bottom, your professor or the director of the course might have to leave campus to go and attend a professional meeting or attend to some personal business and cannot be there in the class. And if you have caught the attention of that professor, you might in fact be tapped to stand in for that prof in a lecture. So these are some of the chores of a typical TA. Less likely chores, you certainly don't have to make up the syllabus. You're not in charge of the course as it is. You don't have to write up the questions or set up the procedures for the exams. You do not have to decide on grades in the sense that you do not actually have the authority to assign a final letter grade to a student. There might be some guidelines which are posted by the prof, but in the final analysis, it is in fact the professor who assigns the letter grade to the student. You will definitely not be running the class on your own. And you certainly will not have complete authority over the course. That lies with the director. However, there may be occasions when you have been a TA for long enough and you have been able to impress the department sufficiently and that they have the confidence in you to let you, in fact, run a course on your own, almost as if you're a faculty member. Yes, it's quite likely that that may happen, but certainly not in your first year, probably not in your second year, perhaps in the third or fourth year as PhD students. All right, so what are the expectations that a typical director of a course would be making of you? What expectations will they be demanding from you? All right, they certainly want you to be a team player. They don't want you to go off on your own, setting up your own rules and doing what it is that you like. All right, there will be certain rules and policies that are enunciated by the director at the very beginning of the quarter, and you are supposed to abide by those rules. We expect you to be responsible. That means if there's an exam at 8 o'clock, you don't show up at 8:30 and say, I'm sorry, I'm late, I overslept. Is everything going on correctly? I mean, is there a problem? Right? If the exam is 8 o'clock, typically the director would expect you to show up at 7:45 and no later than that. We expect you to be prepared for your class, and the next 2 days plus Education 775 will drill that into you, that you have to be, proficient in the materials that you are in fact going to be teaching in your labs and in your recitations. Students will never warm up to you if they know that you show up in a recitation or in a lab looking half asleep and without any kind of energy or any enthusiasm whatsoever. And certainly, as the director of a course, I want my TAs to run or to rush into a lab or into a class and, hey, look, guys, let's get started. You should got to show some enthusiasm. It's all very well to know your stuff, but if you don't know how to get that stuff across, if you're not a good communicator, then there will be issues. So a good director will be looking for people who can actually communicate. And again, in Education 775, we will be giving you tips on how maybe you can practice your English or your communication skills so that you can, in fact, do well in the classroom. We want you to be friendly, right? We don't want you to be aloof from your students, but neither do we want you to be that friendly, right? That, there can be compromising situations that can arise. So hands off, but not with hands that are, that long. So, stay close with the students, but as I said, not too close. As a director of a course, I would want you to really, think of yourself as an extension of me in the classroom. What would I want to have happen in that classroom? Try and picture that and then try and deliver that if you can. I want you to be aware of the rules and policies because a lot of things can arise in which one finds that because you didn't interpret the policies properly, students get upset, they complain, they might even seek legal redress for what it is that happened. So be very aware of rules and policies. All right, so that's the reason why we have this TA orientation, to try and give you tips on how to be a good TA, and then to make you aware of what it is that you have to do in the classroom, and really of your role as a TA at Drexel. Now, please remember that for the university to succeed in its teaching mission, as I've written it down here, we need you to be the very best TAs that you can be. I want you to know that the administration, the faculty, the staff do appreciate or do value what it is that you do for us, all right? And if at any time during the next 2 days and at any time, in fact, in your careers as TAs or as graduate students, if there are any issues that cannot be resolved between you and your director and your friends, and if we can help in any way, by we I mean the people who are in fact helping to run TA orientation, do come and see us. All right, I want to wish you a good 2 days, and I hope you will learn enough, as I said, to be the best you can be when you enter into the classroom and into the recitation, and when you meet your charges, the undergraduates who are here to be taught by you. I think that you're going to, learn a lot. I think that you're going to enjoy Education 775. And for that, I want to thank once again Alexis, Sandy, Shivandi, and all the experienced TAs who are going to be helping to run TA orientation in Education 775. I'll see you guys around. Thank you.
We're just recording for students who are here. So you could. I'll set it up for you. Thank you.